Greetings, Melvi family, and welcome to this podcast on the go. And particularly, we are talking about my journey with God. We are talking about how God has led the panelists, the talent, the brother, the doctor, the leader, the author that I have today. You've never heard him on Melvi before. Can you imagine? 15 years we've been in operation. You've been following us, and you've never heard this voice on Melvi. But by providence, God has brought Dr. Mweemba with us today. Greetings, and how are you?
I'm fine, and thank you for the opportunity, and
Wow.
greetings to the viewers.
Finally.
Yeah. Finally.
You are on Melvi.
I'm on Melvi, and I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I see you brought all the thoughts and the stuff. Wow. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for
so
the opportunity.
Much. What a journey it is that you have taken to be here today.
Yeah.
We've got time.
Okay.
And we've got enough tape.
All right.
So we're going to be here to talk about your journey with God.
Sure.
And when we were talking offset, you were so fired up and you were like, Melvi, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Because things are happening.
Hey, things are happening, and we want to be the nucleus of the happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we're in the right continent.
Yes. Yeah.
And God has set time for us to be here.
That's right.
Now, I'm going to unravel this onion or this storyline with you. And I really want to invite our viewers there. Sit down. Make sure you're watching, because we're going to be dropping things here today. I get a sense the doctor is loaded today.
I'm talkative.
That's why you're here. So on this podcast, we want to track and trace and really enjoy your journey with God.
Yeah.
You know, we see you speaking. We see your books.
Yes.
We read your books. But we've never sat down to know who's the man standing up there.
That's right.
So we want to track that journey you took with God to be where you are today.
Yes.
And so where do we begin? Let's go back maybe when you first discovered I am alive. Where were you? What was happening? And who were you with? And where were you in this beautiful planet?
Yeah. Well, I'll answer that question midway. I'll start in the middle.
Okay, and come back to it.
And come back to.
All right.
Yeah, I'll start in the middle, then go back and come to the front.
All right.
Yeah, 2016, that's the middle part of it.
All right.
2016, I took my children home from Bloemfontein. We went on leave to Zambia. So I said, guys, let's go. So we had a long drive, and when we got to the village, I said to them, look, let me show you where I was born.
Okay.
Yeah, let me take you to where I was born. So I said to them, don't put on shoes. You know, December is a rainy season. Yes. So I said, don't put on shoes, just put slippers and stuff like that. And don't put on trousers, if you can, shorts and stuff. So the two of them, my son Malelo and my daughter Bumi. So we said to Mavis, my wife, I call her Mavi baby.
Yeah.
So I said, look, you are not a Zambian, so you remain. So we, the three of us, will go. So we went.
Okay.
Now, we headed towards the bush.
All right.
Yeah, we headed towards the bush. And then, they were trailing behind. And then I heard my daughter asking the brother to say, hey, where is this nigger taking us? You know, they use that language to me. Who is this nigger taking us?
Yeah.
Taking us. I said, no, just follow. So we went and we came to an anthill. And I said to them, hey, I was born here. My daughter says, this is a joke. Daddy, there's no house here. I said, yeah, there used to be a house.
Wow.
So I was born here. And then my son says, but how do you know? And I said, the day I was born, my grandfather planted that mango tree.
Oh.
So there's a mango tree. I said, that's my birth certificate.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we went to the mango tree and they started climbing it and we took pictures and okay. So I said, let's go further. I show you my swimming pool.
Wow.
All the swimming that I know.
Yeah.
Where I learned it. So we went further into the bush and we found this pond, brown water with grass around. And they are used to these swimming pools which are blue.
With ceramic
with
tiles.
ceramic tiles and everything. So I said, you know what? This pool is my swimming pool. All my childhood days, I spent them here from school, come and take off my uniform and I'm in this water and swim until my eyes are red, my skin is white. From there, I get out of here, go to fetch the cows, take them home. Wow. So that is about 60 odd years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm indirectly telling you that I'm 60. So that's 60 years odd years ago. And I was born in that setup in a rural setting, and I'm number 5 among the 9.
Almost right there in the middle.
I'm in the middle.
All right.
Among the 9, and the rest are big.
Okay.
And bulky. Of course, we lost some of them.
Okay.
And I'm the shortest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And my last born sister says to me, hey, Nene. My name is Nene, original name.
Oh, Nene.
Nene.
All right.
But Nene, you are short. You are the shortest among all these. And I said to her, hey, I'm short physically, but I think I'm mentally tall. And it was a joke, It was a joke. Yeah,
okay.
So, yes, that's who I am.
Wow.
And one thing that really touched me is that when it was Father's Day, years later, my daughter wrote on a card, and she says, hey, this guy was born where there's no electricity. He's born where there's no electricity and all these things.
No
and then
Wi-Fi.
No Wi-Fi. And then at the bottom she says, I love you, Dad. Wow. You are my best dad ever. I said to myself, thank you, Lord. Thank you. I thought that trip into the bush would have the other effect. But that statement from my daughter, it touched me deeply. Yeah, it touched me deeply because I know where they were born.
And you know where you come from.
And I know where I come from. And I said, thank you, Lord. I mean, from that anthill, now you've given me 2 beautiful people.
Wow.
And a beautiful wife.
Yes.
And so...
Awesome.
That's who I am, and that's where my journey started. That's where I launched from.
I can imagine there are so many stories from that childhood that defined you from that beginning. Of course, the conversation with your sister seems like it was an ongoing one.
Yeah.
And you eventually became the tallest mentally.
Yeah, sort of.
We will talk about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that one. Yeah. But any experiences from your childhood that we should look back, they have shaped you to become who you are today, and who gave you those experiences?
Well, I think one experience is the singing of my parents early in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah. They were this couple, didn't go to school much, did adult education.
Okay.
But they knew their hymnal, the Tonga hymnal, by head. Oh. Now, if anything, that served as an alarm for us to wake up, is their singing.
Wow. Yeah.
And I remember one of their favorite songs. It's number 39. It has also become my favorite song. It's one of the songs that I normally, if I'm taken to preach somewhere, it's either be number 39 or number 33.
My hope is built on
nothing
else
less
but Jesus' blood, and His righteousness.
Yeah.
I dare not trust, the sweetest frame, but wholly lean on Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
The solid rock. That solid rock. You know, so that impacted, you know, and when I grew up, of course, as a teenager,
Yeah.
you have that deviant approach to life.
You're discovering
Yeah,
yourself. The
yeah,
hormones are
you know,
kicking you.
I've come to believe that in every life there is a prodigal period.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a prodigal period, and I think that's one of the reasons Jesus told the story. We all have a prodigal period. It's part of growing up, and
I think one day we must do a podcast on the prodigal. Yes.
yes, there is a prodigal period, and in that entire prodigal story, there's one part that I really like. And it's just a phrase. It says, and when he came to his senses. You know? And when I talk about it, I say, I think the best a parent can do in parenting is planting the senses. I think that's your job.
Wow.
You plant the senses, you plant. I think when that prodigal boy walked away, the father had discomfort.
That the senses.
He has gone with
there.
the senses, and that's why maybe he kept going to, looking in the direction where he left. Maybe that's why, because he knew
the
senses
would
trigger one day. You know, life. Wow. We all have files, and sometimes life downloads the stuff from you, which you have forgotten, and an event is something, you see something and it serves as a PIN number. And the whole thing comes. And I think when those pigs granted it him,
that was a PIN number.
That was a PIN number. And the whole file was downloaded to say, but the senses. So he got up. Yeah, so I had that period, grew up in the church, and then at one point did some kind of prodigal walk away, if I may call it that way. Prodigal walk away, and and did stuff.
What drew you away to that place?
The peer pressure. The peer pressure. You know, I was in a boarding school.
Okay.
And you know, in a boarding school, you want to test breaking the boundaries.
Yeah.
For the sake of it. To push them, to test them.
Just for the fun.
Yeah. So peer pressure. I had this friend of mine who just enjoyed going out of bounds. You know.
And watching people
going out of bounds, and when the teachers come, we hide. And it was fun to escape the hiding. And of course, I have loved cars. And I had this guy who I knew. He was a sports person. He had a sporting car. So, and he used to smoke. So one day, I was in one town by the rail station, and here is the guy. The sports guy, the popular guy.
Wow.
And he used to race with the Land Rover. I like Land Rovers up to now. Wow. My cars are Land Rovers. So here he is, and he's smoking.
Wow.
He's smoking those old cigarettes, Rothmans, Peter Stuyvesant.
Yeah, the very expensive,
well-trimmed
ones.
Well-trimmed ones. So now, he is my role model. He's smoking. So he looked cool. He looked cool that he was smoking. And so what did I do? I bought myself a packet. Yeah, I bought myself a packet of cigarettes, and
to be like your role model.
To be like this guy. You know? So I lit my cigarette. I'd never smoked before. I lit my cigarette and I puffed it. But you see, the lungs were...
Yeah, I'm waiting for that moment when you choke out.
Yeah, the lungs were innocent, and
they're like, we don't know this thing.
I choked. I tried it again. I choked further.
Wow.
So I said, no, this is not me. So I took the whole packet and gave it to him. I gave it to the man.
Wow.
Yeah. And waited for my train.
Yeah.
And I left. But what really triggered the senses It was the book, The Great Controversy.
Okay.
Yeah, The Great Controversy. And I was traveling in the same town where I tried to smoke.
Mm.
I had a cousin there. So the other day, it got dark and
Yeah.
passed by there. And I went into that house.
Mm.
And he said to me, hey, the bedrooms are full. You are going to sleep here in the living room.
Mm.
So he brought the mattress, put it there.
Yeah.
And I like reading.
Okay.
I like reading. So I looked at the bookshelf. And there I saw The Great Controversy. You know, the big one.
All
the old
right.
deluxe one.
The hardcover
The
one.
hardcover one with the
Yeah.
stars on top there. So I pulled it out, opened. And you know, I read this statement, oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem.
Yes.
How many times have I tried to bring you
Gather you
like
together, hen gathering their cheeks.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't.
I
let me.
read that paragraph. I didn't continue the reading. I folded the book and put it back.
What had happened?
No, I
The
just
trigger.
it triggered this thing of how many times has the Lord tried to bring me.
Oh, the choking moments.
The choking moments, remember? So I said,
Yeah.
okay, I left the book. I went home. At home there was this gentleman who I knew had a lot of spirit of prophecy. So I went and asked him, do you have a book called The Great Controversy?
Okay.
He says, yeah, I do. And this beautiful bookshelf, and I saw the
Same copy.
same copy. I said, that's the book I read
Yeah.
in that town. Could you please lend me the book? He says, yes. So I took the book.
Mm.
I read through that book. After that,
Mm-hmm.
I read The Ministry of Healing. Then I went for Desire of Ages.
Wow.
Then I went for, the set, patriarchs and prophets
Yes, the
and
conflict
kings.
of ages.
The conflict of ages. I went for that. And then I went for Steps to Christ.
Mm.
Now, that Steps to Christ,
The smallest of them
the
all.
smallest of the... Hey, I never get tired of reading that book.
Wow.
That book, I anchored on prayer and forgiveness.
Mm.
Yeah, I think those books and that choking experience really pointed me back, brought back my senses, and I headed home.
Wow.
I headed home, and I think, from that time, I've not looked.
Wow. How old were you at this stage?
I had finished high school. I
Okay.
think I was just finishing my teen years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I must have been 18, 19, 20, somewhere there.
And life is now beginning to happen in a way where you are now getting into an adult.
In an adult phase.
Yeah.
In an adult phase. So, yeah. And I think one other experience was I grew up a shepherd boy. And when I look back, I really see that even biblically, God shaped a lot of his leaders through being shepherds, And the ability to look after things that can't talk back to you and ensure that they are fed, they are taken care of, and also looking after the stray ones. Those that you put a bell to know where it is.
The ones that walk too far.
And that break into people's fields. And to make sure when at sunset you have all of them. You've brought them back. Accountability. So I didn't like that at first. Because I said to myself, look, I'm now... Even when I went to Solusi, when I'd go on holiday, I would still go to the bush and be a shepherd.
Wow.
But then I discovered that this is the best period to read.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it actually deepened my reading skill and desire.
Okay.
And I remember I would go with my Bible, the Tonga Bible.
Okay.
Yeah, my home language.
Yes.
I would take my Bible and I decided to read from Genesis. You know, read slowly, read slowly, read slowly. Yeah, even now, when I prepare a sermon, I don't usually use commentaries and things like that. No. I'm a literal preacher.
From the text.
From the text itself.
To your impressions.
To my impressions.
Wow.
That's how I preach. I will, of course, later I was also taught a skill that if you want to preach on a text, read it not less than 10 times. Just read it. You know, read first like a newspaper and continue like that until my Dr. Mweemba would say, until the texts now starts talking to you, it's jumping at you. You notice the syntax of the words, the positioning, the commas, the who is speaking, what are they saying, and what can I pick from it. Yeah, so those shepherd days really played a role.
Awesome.
Reading and desiring to understand the Bible.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about your high school years and also your education.
Yes.
How was academics your friend, or it was closing you, as the young people say? How did you progress through high school? And any memorable experiences? I hear you talking about Solusi. Was that for college, or was it also high school?
No, that was college. That was college.
Right.
High school, I'm a product of rural schools, if I may put it that way. And I remember the first day of going to school, I didn't arrive. No.
What happened?
I liked making clay cows.
Yes.
Yeah, clay cows, and would make heads of them and be rich, you know, ranchers. Yeah, in clay. And would make bulls. We liked bullfighting because that was the sport in the bush there when you are heading cattle.
Yeah.
You know, bulls fight without testosterone issue.
Yeah,
you just select one and you select this one, and then they fight.
Yeah.
And we enjoyed that. And it also led to our physical fights.
Oh, to say you broke my bull, so I'm going to break
No, the bulls, the real bulls now, when they're fighting there.
All right.
Yeah, if this one is cheering too much.
For the wrong bull.
For the wrong bull. and would fight for that, you know, and then come home and also make our own bulls and fight. You know, and fight
dry them nicely in the
dry
sun.
them nicely and polish them until they're hardened and fight like that. So,
and there were special things you were using from the trees.
Yes, you get a piece of glass
from acacia trees.
Yes, and you rub them,
and then you nicely polish
nicely,
them
and you dry them in the shade.
All right.
Because if you dry them in the sun, they are brittle.
Okay.
So you dry them in the shade, they are more harder. And then we'll give them horns and things like that.
Yeah.
So when I went to school for the first time, no, I was going in the wrong direction. My friends were busy that side.
Wow.
And not only that, would also shoot birds with catapults. You know? Yeah. So that was big for us. It was really big. So I remember going to school first time, and
so you didn't arrive.
No, I didn't arrive. I hid in the bush, in the grass actually. I detoured, hid in the grass.
Wow.
Unfortunately, my uncle was passing by, riding a bicycle. So he saw me. And he stopped. He says, "What are you doing there?"
You were supposed to be in school.
I was supposed to go to school. What are you doing there? I said, I came out of the bush. And I said, no, you see, the teacher said, what. I didn't even arrive. That is the only moment when I did not arrive at school.
And but in your heart, where are you in your heart? Where do you want to go?
No, I want to go back.
To the fields?
No, I want to go back and make my clay cows. And from there, I'm going to hunt.
Yes.
That's the in thing. That's where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
But I went, to school. And when I got to school, I enjoyed the first class. Because in the first class, I started my primary school with sub A and B. Remember, they didn't have
Yes,
grade
grade
R
one,
and
yeah,
0.
yeah.
No, before you go to grade 1,
Yeah.
they used to have this pre.
Yes.
And in those
Substandard,
days,
yeah.
substandard, yeah. So
Yeah.
we started with grade sub A and B. And I remember in sub A, we we were taught the sound of English. We started school with English. Remember, straight from making cows. I've never spoken an English word. And so we were taught how English sounds first.
Okay.
And it went like da, di-di-da, di-di-da, da, di-di-da.
All right.
That's the sound of English. So we that da, di-di-da thing, wow, it made me look forward just to go and repeat the da, di-di-da, da, di-di-da.
Yeah.
And before they taught us the sentences.
Yes,
you know,
the real words, yeah.
So that got me hooked to school. And
Okay.
yeah, from then on, well, the cows were made after.
After school.
But school came first.
All
And
right.
I loved school. I went through my primary school, and I loved the sciences.
Okay.
I still love science. And some of my sermons are actually scientific.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I grew up,
Yeah.
I decided to say, no, I want to find science in the Bible. And if you had time, I would tell you more on the science in the Bible.
Okay.
The very Genesis chapter 1.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of science there. Yeah, you're right.
Too much of it.
Yeah.
And I've come to conclude to say the best, one of the most powerful science books is the Bible. Can I share a word or two?
Yeah.
You know, Genesis chapter 1, the creation itself, it says, you know, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and it was formless and void. And then he talks about water.
Yeah.
And it said the Spirit was hovering over the surface of the deep. Now, it doesn't tell us when he said, let there be water.
Neither the darkness.
Neither the darkness. Those two are not mentioned. It's like they were there, you know. So, and then when you read it, the most scientific part of it is when he says, let there be a firmament. That's verse 6. And check how he creates the firmament. He says, let there be space.
Between the waters.
Between the waters. Water above
and
water below. Now, when you read it literally like that, or just read the narrative, you won't see the science. But if you think scientifically, you'll see that this space, water above, water below, is actually the living zone. Because everything living that is going to create will need oxygen.
Within that space.
Within that space.
Yeah, if you go beyond, there's nothing.
No, you die. So below is the water, which, and you know what is water made of?
H2O.
H2O.
There's
It's
a
oxygen.
particle of oxygen.
Exactly.
And 2 particles
So
of
this
hydrogen.
water below will be pumping oxygen into the zone. Wow. The water above pumps oxygen into the zone. So all other living things will need oxygen.
Wow.
And he needs to create. First of all, he creates the living zone. Wow. And I'm just saying, I've loved science a lot, and I love stars. I spend my time. It's in the books talking about stars and what he did. And yes,
I'm now fascinated as you talk about science.
Yes.
How did you end up in the theology space? Because you went to Solusi. You studied what? Theology?
I studied theology.
Not science.
Not science.
You went to postgraduate.
I
You studied even theology.
Theology.
To the point of being a PhD on theology.
On theology.
What was God doing there? How was he leading you there? You sound like you could have been a science teacher or a professor in science.
I still like science. I can tell you how an atomic bomb is made. I know fission and fusion. I know splitting the atom. I've studied those things. But this is what God did for me, which I'm very grateful. You know, God works through people.
Yes.
Yeah. At my local church, I used to go to do VBS.
Vocational Bible School.
School.
Okay.
You know. And you know, in my kindergarten class, you are technically forced to memorize verses.
Uh-huh.
I was good at that.
All right.
I was good at that, and I was good at the drama too.
Okay.
In primary school, I was good at the drama. Yeah, I would really, my drama name is Ikweme.
Ikweme. What does that mean?
I think it's a Nigerian name, Ikweme, and I had a girlfriend called Ihoma.
Ah.
Yeah, so, and when it was drama, competing with schools, we would go.
You were the man.
I was the man. I was the main actor in Ikweme, you know.
Okay.
And I remember part of the story is that I would climb a tree. I'll climb a tree and the whole village would try to get me down. Only Ihoma will call me down.
Oh,
yeah, so when Ihoma comes and they'll look for Ihoma, where's she? And the Ikweme is in the tree and he doesn't want to come down. And that is before crowds of people. And Ihoma will come and ask me to come down. Nicely. And I will come down. So I loved the drama. Mm-hmm. And of course, in the later years at church, I was assigned to teach my fellow kids. And at one time, I was teaching the adults Sabbath school lesson, which is my favorite part of church, the lesson.
Wow.
So in that lesson, there was this senior man, one of the elders, who would keep talking to me. You must be a teacher. You must be a teacher. I think, I got programmed and conditioned
by his speech.
You are a teacher. You must teach. You are a teacher. So the other day I went to town and I attended this upper class church, Central Church.
Yes.
And the union president was coming to that church. And I was given this lesson. It was on Daniel, the book of Daniel.
The prophecies of Daniel.
The prophecies of Daniel. And I think that time it was talking about either the den or the image. So he is the union president.
Sitting at your feet.
Zambia Union. Sitting in my class.
Wow.
And all these CEOs and stuff, they threw me there. So I taught the lesson. And this union president kept smiling. He never said a word. I did not know that he was a specialist in the book of Daniel and Revelation. I didn't know.
Apocalyptic literatures.
I did not know. I only came to know when he conducted one of the best evangelist series in Zambia in a conference center where the president
of the country
attended.
Who was this one?
Dr. Riley. Yeah. Dr. Riley.
All right.
Yeah. That beast of a preacher. You know, when he did Daniel and Levitt, that's when I said, my goodness.
He was sitting in my class.
He was sitting in my class years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago, and there was fumbling in front of a specialist. But you know, ignorance is bliss. I didn't care. If I had known,
you would have handed over.
I would have fumbled more. But man, in my ignorance and youthfulness, I went for it. But when I finished, one lady came to me. And this is what she said. She said, did you know that Dr. Riley was here? I said, I saw him. Says, yeah. She says, guess what? I think when he leaves this church, he will know that we have lesson teachers in this church.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay. She just made that statement and God bless her soul. So in my later years now, I become a literature evangelist.
Okay.
I'm still a literature evangelist.
Okay.
Yeah. I came with my briefcase.
Wow.
I still carry a briefcase. I used to carry a bag, but I said, no, man, let me go back to myself.
Yeah.
Briefcase. So I'm a literature evangelist and I'm in a church meeting. So somebody comes to call me to say, there's a man to see you outside.
Okay.
Okay. So I come and see this man. He says to me, "You are a pastor." I said, "No, I'm not a pastor." He says, "No, you are a pastor." So I went back into the church, continued the meeting. That was in April. October, that man came again. He says, "You are a pastor. What are you doing?" I said, "No, I'm not a pastor.
I'm a literature evangelist.
I'm a literature evangelist, and in my head, I want to pursue the sciences.
Okay.
I want to pursue my science."
Makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he says, "No,
you.
I'm a pastor." He says, "No, you are a pastor," and insists on that. And then he calls me to his house.
Okay.
He calls me to his house. And we sit, we talk. He says, "What do you own?" I said, "What do you mean, what do I own? I own nothing. I only have a coffee table." He says, "Go and sell it. Go and sell that coffee table. And leave that house. And continue in your literature work." I said, "No. Me, I want to do this. I want to do pathology."
Okay.
I'm a pathologist.
Yeah.
I wanted to do pathology. And even when I did my psychology with UNISA, I really enjoyed the DSM, Diagnostic Statistical Manual. For mine, ICD-10. And I was telling my wife to say, "Do you know what ICD-10 is?" And she said, "What do you mean?" I say, "International Classification of Disease."
Yeah.
And I said, if you go to a doctor and they examine you and they test you, if they cannot classify your condition on the ICD-10, then they don't know what you're suffering from. Yeah. And I said, next time you go to a doctor, check the prescription. There is an ICD-10 code on that prescription. When you go to the pharmacy, that's what they check.
All right.
Yeah. So I really loved that, and I still like it. But yes, that man convinced me you are a pastor, and ended up with theology and came to Solusi.
And Solusi by that time is really the mother of all mission stations, and the great minds in the region find themselves there.
Powerful seminary.
And how did the Lord lead you through that?
Through the Solusi journey?
Yes. The theology.
Yeah, the theology one was, well, it then downloaded the reading senses. Remember, I was a shepherd boy, reading the Bible, reading the conflict set and whatever. So when I got to Solusi, it came down.
The passcode was
the passcode now it came. I
down.
found characters and people there.
All right.
And yes, I enjoyed it. I liked it. But halfway, I wanted to quit. Seriously. Yeah. You know, I was staying in Mayenza South, the dormitories.
Yes.
Behind the dormitory is a fence. Then you get into the farm, Solusi farm.
Yes.
And in Solusi farm, further about 100 or so meters, there was this cluster of trees. A cluster of trees. And just before you get into the farm, I would walk a little bit to the east. There was an anthill and a tree. I chose that place as my prayer spot.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I got to Solusi self-sponsored. And when I depart from Mazabuka, Zambia, maybe let me reverse a little bit.
Yeah.
There's this insistence, you are a pastor, you are a pastor, you are a pastor. And so now I'm in town. I live in Mazabuka. And I was good at interpreting when the preacher is preaching.
Okay.
So when the pastors would come, they are doing campaigns, they would invite me to interpret from English to
whatever local
local language.
Dialect,
I had picked good vocabulary from reading. So I would kind of be precise as to what the preacher is saying. And so, one night we're going to a campaign in the sugar area, and I'm with this elder, Elder Kashitu.
Okay.
So he stops the car. He's now taking me home. He stops the car. He says to me, do you want to go to school to do theology? I said, yeah, I would like to. And he says to me, prove to us that you want to go to school.
Okay.
So how do I prove? Anyway, I continue my life, my selling of books.
Yeah.
Then the other day he says to me, look, I'm going to tell the church that you need to go to school. Where? You need to go to Solusi.
All right.
So he tells the church, says this guy must go. So the Amo men come together. I apply to Solusi and I'm accepted at Solusi. I don't have a penny.
To get there.
Let
alone to pay the tuition.
So he tells the church, Amo church, the members, he brings them together. This guy must go to school.
He's a kingmaker. He's making the doctor right there.
I'm telling you. So the brethren come together.
Yeah.
He put money. He himself signs a check for me.
Wow.
1,125 kwacha.
Issued to Solusi.
No. To my bank account. Because I'm now applying for Forex.
All right. So that you can come to Zimbabwe.
I can come to
US
Zimbabwe.
Dollar, yeah.
US dollar.
Yeah.
So, the money is put together. It's in my account. And then someone advised me to say, listen, all the money you make, whatever you sell, deposit. So I learned to deposit money. Over time, I accumulated some. The Amo group put money.
Okay.
And I had two friends. Good friend. I had a friend, he's late now, who was my Jonathan. Yeah. He says to me, don't worry, whatever I have. And he put that. And another one. So my father gave me £5 to go to Solusi. So I went to Solusi and got to Solusi, paid for my first term. And a friend of mine from Botswana says to me, Mweemba, how are you going to pay your school fees? I said, I'm going to sell books. And he says, where? I said, in your country. He says, you are joking. You're going to sell books in my country and come and... Yes. And come and... I said, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, little did I know the struggle that lay ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That tested my faith. Seriously. So, okay, it's June now, and you have the long break, and I need to go to sell books because my account is dry.
And you need to have enough money to pay
for September.
Next term, yeah.
Yeah. So now, I jump on the train, Plumtree, Francis Town, and I have this passport. And to me, it's a real passport, and yet it's written travel document. And I don't know the difference between the two. So I get onto the train, and the conductors come, and immigration on the train. Passports, tickets, passport. They punch the tickets, the passports, give passports. This guy looks at my passport. He stamps it. He walks away, and then he stops. And he comes back. He says, where's your passport? Give him. He says, no. You can't.
With this travel.
With this thing. He stamps it, decline. And signs. He says, get out of the train. I'm in Plumtree. I've never been there. Wow. It's a strange world. And
this is even before the border to...
Before the border now.
It's just by the border.
Yeah, by the border. Because they must check your passports before the train crosses into
over.
Botswana.
Yeah.
So there I am. And he throws me out of the train. He says, you get out of the train or else I'll arrest you.
Oh, no.
So I get out of the train and here I am. Now, I was so confused. I put my suit carrier there, grabbed my briefcase and was walking around. I didn't notice that I had drifted away from my luggage. So this gentleman in this uniform for trained people, police-like,
security.
He says, hey, what's the matter? Because he can see that this guy is disoriented. What's the matter? I said, no, I don't know where to go. He says, what do you mean? I said, I've just been thrown off the train. And then he says, whose luggage is that? I said, it's mine. He says, yeah, even if you don't know where to go, but take care of your luggage. So that's when I come to that's when I walk to my bag. I walk to my bag. I pick my bag up. I put it here.
Wow.
So now, what password do I have in my head as to where do I go? So I said to him, do you know any Adventist?
Okay.
And he says, I know one, but I don't know where he stays. I only know the direction where he stays. He stays this side. He says, I know a gentleman called Mr.
Mentions his name.
Mentions the name.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, where do I find
This
that
Mr.
man?
Yeah.
So I pick my bag and my briefcase, and I head in the direction.
And you have a name.
I have a name in my head. So as I'm walking, a lady approaches me from behind, and she can see that I'm carrying it. She says, that thing looks heavy. Where are you going? I said, I'm going in this direction to look for that man.
Mr. So-and-so.
Do you know him? I said, no. I don't know him. I don't know the street. I don't know the house.
Yeah.
The house number. So okay, fine. I'm going in the same direction, but I'll branch off. Can I help you? So she puts it on her head.
Oh, wow.
We head in the same direction. She gets to where she parts, and she says, man, you may continue.
Yeah.
So I continue. I've never seen that lady.
Okay.
It was just that meeting.
That's it.
And then she goes.
Yeah.
So, well, I walk. I remember another gentleman comes in a yellow overall. Yeah. And he says, man, that thing looks heavy. Remember, I'm a small guy.
Yeah.
I have a briefcase and I have this bag.
Full of books.
And I was smaller even then.
Wow.
Because you're talking about 30 odd years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says, can I help you? So he helps me. And I said, I'm going to look for this man.
Yeah.
This is his name. He says, Esh, I know the area, but I don't know the man. Do you have the street address? I said, no, I don't have the street. I just know he stays in that. I've been told. So we get there. The man, he says, okay, we have to start looking for this man.
Wow.
So he goes, he speaks the language.
Sindebele, yes.
Sindebele, Kalanga, something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he starts speaking and investigating. Somebody says, no, you go to that street. House number so and so. So we get there.
Yeah.
And we knock. And the man opens. And he's looking at this stranger.
What do you want here?
What do you want with a bag? I said, I'm a student from Solusi.
Yes.
Been thrown off the train. I tell him the story. And then, he says, come in.
Okay.
So I go in. And then he says, man, I don't have a bed for you. I'll give you a mat. You know that reed mat?
Yes.
Made of reeds.
Ansi, we call it.
Ansi.
Ansi,
Yeah, he
yes.
gives me that. He says, you can make yourself comfortable here.
Yes.
I use my briefcase as a pillow.
Wow.
I sleep.
Wow.
In the morning, I said, no. Let me go to Botswana.
You're still insisting when
But
they
I'm
chucked
going
you out.
there. I'm
Okay.
going there. I think that's one characteristic I have, which has got me into trouble several times.
I can
I
imagine.
rarely turn back when I start something.
And
hence this title, Start Happening. I rarely turn back. So
Wow.
I said to him, look after my bag. I'm going to Botswana. So now from Plum Tree, I walk to the border. That's about 5 km.
Yes.
I walk to the border, the Zimbabwe border.
Yes.
They don't have a problem with me. They stamp my passport, exit.
Okay.
Now I walk to
Across
the
the small
the
river
small river and
to the
that no
Botswana
man's
side.
land.
Yes.
I go there. It's a border. The guy says, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "I'm going into Francistown." Okay. He stamps my passport. I get a lift.
Oh.
Now I'm going to the immigration office in Francistown. I get there and the man looks at my passport. He says, "No, man, I can't give you a visa.
With this document.
With this travel document, you need a passport, sir."
Okay.
Okay. So you go back. He was kind to me. Go back and get
A passport.
A passport. Now I have to go back where? Zambia now.
Cross Zimbabwe back.
Cross Zimbabwe back to Livingstone. And I'm a student. And
There's
you
no
know
money.
how heavy my heart is. How heavy my heart is.
Yeah.
And he says to me, listen, you have to go back because after 18 hours, you will be arrested.
For being an illegal.
Illegal. So you have to cross that border before 18 hours.
Yeah.
Because now you will have overstayed.
Stayed. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Grab my briefcase, look for a lift. I'm back. And I go and sleep there. And I tell the man, I'm going to Zambia. Please look after my bag. He says, okay, fine. You proceed. I go to Zambia. I go to Livingstone and Victoria Falls.
Yeah.
I go to Livingstone.
Uh-huh.
And I get to the passport office.
Yeah.
Open the door. This man says to me, we don't have passport forms. Yeah, you don't have passport. He says, you don't have. I said, you don't even have emergency forms. He says, no, we don't have. So I get out of that office. Hey, I'm broken. And to me now, I'm saying, the Lord is saying, this is not your thing.
Okay.
You see?
Don't sell books in Botswana. Go back to school.
This is not your thing. You have no school, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, fine. But then I said, Lord, I pray. I believe in prayer, right? Strongly.
Right.
No, I strongly, because when I trace all this up to where I am, it's just been prayer and prayer. Even at Solusi, I remember my tree, my praying tree.
Yes.
Yeah,
You chose that spot.
Yeah, where I would go, So yeah, I like jogging also and walking. So I put on my shorts this particular day, decide to run. I run. I find a bush towards the airport, Livingstone Airport. I find a bush, I branch off, I pray. I pray. So I go back to the house where I was staying, put on my clothes, back to the passport office. Yeah. Going to that man.
Same man who said I don't have forms.
So I go up the steps, and when I get to the door, I can hear my heart in my ears. I can literally hear my heart.
It's pounding.
It's pounding. What is it pounding? The fear of rejection.
Again.
I open the door. I look at the man. He looks at me. He says, it's you again. I said, it's me. He pulls the drawer and throws passport forms at me. Yes.
Things are happening now.
So disoriented that I even asked him to say, should I fill them? He says, you are even asking. Oh my goodness.
So you get the passport finally?
I get a passport.
And then?
The same night.
Wow.
I cross into Zimbabwe, I jump on the train, on the overnight train to Bulawayo.
Yes.
Back, I pick my bag.
From Bulawayo all the way.
To Habron.
Wow.
And
so that's how you support yourself during those years at Solusi?
Melus, let me tell you one more point.
Yeah.
That tested my faith. So I got there now, start selling books. But I have this fear. A dark cloud. I can't, maybe I was depressed or whatever it is, but I can't break through it. I cannot break through it.
How is it manifesting in your selling and your life? Your fear, you are afraid of
I can't
talking?
sell.
Okay.
I can't talk. I can't approach anyone. But school is going to open.
And you need the money.
And I need the money. And it's very cold. And there is this song, remember it's in the 90s.
Yeah.
There's this song on, this old song. It was a South African song which would play before news. Yeah.
The jingle.
So this song is always haunting me in the morning because it wakes me up to face this day.
Where you are so scared.
Where I'm so scared. So this particular day, it was very cold. Very cold, and I was sleeping on this mat again. So I wake up and I prayed. And my favorite food was half loaf and 500 milliliters of milk.
Wow.
Remember, I'm addicted to this. I'm a shepherd boy.
Yeah, milk is your
Milk is
thing.
my diet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So the bread is a luxury.
So I pick that and I pack it, my food and my briefcase, and I head off to sell books. I approach 1, 2, 3 gates. I turn away. Mid-morning, 11, I went to the railway line.
Yeah.
The railway line.
Yeah.
I sat on the rails.
What is in your mind?
I don't know what was in my mind, but I sat on the rails. I don't know what's going on. I can't sell. I can't do what. I'm just in this
Dark space.
Zero zone.
Yeah.
Zero. Is it ground zero?
Yeah.
If I may put it that way.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. And questions are, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Why am I pursuing all these things? For what?
You are a scientist
So I'm sitting there. I'm a scientist.
who's trying to do whatever they're trying.
I'm a scientist.
Yeah.
I sit there. And I'm such a scientist because even at my high school, I worked in the lab. My American teacher.
Yeah.
I was testing chemicals.
Yeah.
I was helping students. When we would be doing an experiment the following day, I would do it first.
You prepare.
I'll prepare the
chemicals,
beakers, the
yes.
test tubes and Bunsen burners and all those. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I'll prepare all that. So here I am now. Yeah. So I sit there and I fall asleep. On the rails.
Ah.
Yeah. I eat my bread and then I put my hands like that and I'm sleeping. I don't care whether a train will come or I'll hear it, but I'm fast asleep. When I wake up with a shock, hey, where am I? Sitting by a rail line. Hey, thank God no train came. You know?
Wow.
So I get up. It's afternoon now. It's in the afternoon. So I said, Lord, now I'm going to enter the first gate. The first gate. I'll enter it and sell. So I go there. First gate, I turn away. Second gate, I turn away. Wow. Third gate, I said, let it be.
I'm leaving this thing.
No, I walked in.
Okay.
I walked in. I said, let it be. I'm walking in. So I walk in. I get to the counter. You know, you are told to say, my name is so-and-so.
Yes.
This time I didn't have time for that. I just got in and the reception says, what can I do for? I said, can I see the manager? You want to see the manager? I said, yes, can I see the manager? I said, I'm selling books.
Okay.
The manager comes.
Yeah.
He's walking past to go out. Oh, God is powerful.
Wow.
And I take out the book, your medical guide. I've already taken it, I put it, and he says, oh my goodness, this book. I've been looking for this book. I missed it in Lusaka.
Wow.
How much is it? I tell him the price. The man goes to his wallet,
Hey.
gives me. That was a launching pad. That moment was a launching. So I said, so all these gates I was failing, the sleeping and the whatever, God was controlling time and opportunity.
To this moment.
That moment, I took off.
All right.
After selling that book, I sold one book. I knocked off. I knocked off.
It was enough for the day.
It was enough for the day. I went to town, bought myself a blanket, stopped freezing, and food, and I went. The following morning.
You were fired up.
I was fired up. I went.
Wow.
I sold. And then I went to one company. And I'm talking to this white guy. He's busy. Now I'm an intruder. And I talk, and he says, Gift, cut the crap.
What
Get
do you want?
The point. What do you want? I said, I'm selling books. He says, listen here, get out of here. Next time I see you, I shoot you.
Wow.
Yeah. He said, get out of here. So I pick my briefcase and I'm walking out of the gate and my back is heavy. Because this guy, you know,
He
when
could do anything
behind me.
because he has promised you.
He's promised. So I walk. But when I walk,
Yeah.
I walk straight to another corporation.
Okay.
I walk in there.
You're not giving up.
No. I walk in there. Look, God controls time and opportunity. That's my philosophy in life.
Wow.
He controls time and opportunity.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes says there's a time, there's a season for every
my friend.
purpose.
So the threats of this gentleman drove me into my diamond mine.
Where you needed to be.
Where I needed to be.
So the next corporation
The next corporation, I sold books for 2 years.
Wow. They kept calling you to come.
Or
you would go there and they would...
For 2 years. I remember one time after selling in many other places, I went and I went to this guy, another corporation, and I'm talking, he's a Muslim.
Okay.
And I'm selling the conflict set. And he says to me, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Christian. But the way you are presenting it, I'm a Muslim, my friend. I can't buy Christian books.
Okay.
I can't. But the way you are talking, where are those books? I said, I can bring them, deliver them. He says, bring them. I took a conflict set to a Muslim.
And sold it?
Yes. He paid for it.
Wow.
He paid for it. From there, I went to a beauty parlor.
Yeah.
Beauty parlor, beautiful people there.
Uh-huh.
It was run by this white lady. A beauty parlor.
Wow.
They were really looking beautiful. How do I approach this? I'm a single young man.
Yeah.
And I see all these beautiful people. I'm disoriented for some time.
Wow.
Then I present myself. And there comes this lady.
Uh-huh.
She's made up, makeup. She says, let's go to my office.
Okay.
So we go to the office. And she says, what can I do for you? I said, no, I've come to do something for you.
Okay.
I said, did you watch the news last night? She says, I did. What did you see? She says, I saw violence. I saw this and this. What meaning do you attach to that?
To those events.
Those events. She says, well, they're just events. I said, no, they are not. I pulled out great controversy. We are in the great controversy. This book will help you and the rest
make
to
sense
interpret
of your events.
Life. Because life has a meaning.
She bought?
Wow. How much are they? They are so much. She went for her drawer, pulled out the drawer, paid cash for the conflict set.
Wow.
I left it there. Yeah. So at the end of the month, I put my money together in a bag. And I opened my bag. On my mat, I had bought a mattress now.
All right.
And blankets and whatever.
Yeah.
So I opened my bag and I did this.
Yeah.
And my whole bed was full of money.
Wow.
It was full of money.
Wow.
I thanked God.
So that's how your tuition gets
paid.
I
went back and I bought everything I needed for my room. I bought a radio and pressing iron and whatever I needed. My room was good.
Well set.
And I bought myself suits and everything. Paid my school fees.
Amen.
Another dark cloud came. I want to leave school.
Why do you want to leave when already God is making provision?
I just want to leave school. I'm
for
not
what?
for this thing.
Oh, it's not gelling with your thinking?
It's not yet gelling strong.
Okay.
So now, remember I told you behind the dome, there's a fence.
Yes, that space you are going to.
So I take my Bible. I had a small black Bible. I was given by one elder. And I walk there. Every Sunday I go there. I read my Bible. One evening, they went to church. Solusi University,
the main
prayers and things like that.
Yes.
I didn't go.
Why?
No, I didn't.
What's happening?
I went to the bush.
Or something was calling.
In the evening, I went to that bush. And I was loitering there. People don't know this story. I was loitering in that bush, looking for myself and trying to really reconcile where
Time and space and events.
What am I doing here?
Mm.
But I want to tell you, God controls time and opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So the following morning, I don't want to go to school.
This thing is growing.
So I sit by the bench.
Mm-hmm.
My friends are going to the library. I sit by the bench there. One gentleman, a friend of mine, comes. Says, Gift, what are you doing here? Supposed to be either in the library class. I said, I'm not interested. I don't want.
Mm.
He sits next to me and he says, listen, what you want to do? I said, I want to go back home. He says, listen. This is what he says to me.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I listen to people talk.
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to you speak during assembly. You know, Solusi did that excellent.
Yes, yes.
I've listened to you speak during assembly.
Uh-huh.
Gift, you make sense. That's what he said.
Okay.
He says, you make sense. You make sense. Get up and go. Go to class.
Mm.
You make sense. I'm a verbal person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I
that
understand the
hits
world
you.
through words. You know, it's if a person talks well to me, I'll be there.
Yeah.
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 I like people who talk well, and I also am visual too. I'm not very emotional.
Okay.
I'm not very emotional.
Very
I've
cognitive.
gone through spaces which should have made me cry. I don't cry.
Okay.
You know, even in my
So
working space.
So did
I've
you
seen
go to
people
class then after he said that?
I got up. I went to class.
And finished this thing?
And finished this thing. I finished my theology. I finished whatever.
Wow.
And when I look at those moments, what sustained me, every Saturday morning, I'll go to that tree there.
By that ant hill.
By the ant hill and pray. Every Saturday. I didn't know that somebody actually was observing me.
Okay.
Yeah, but one of the people there, senior people, observed that because later he told the students a story to say there was this guy. When I finished Solusi, the day I left Solusi, and I don't think I've been back there. I've been away from Solusi for more than 30 years.
And when you walked in here, I asked you, hey, are you coming from Solusi?
You asked me that.
I must have been
there.
triggering memories.
When I went there, the day I left Solusi, I went to my auntie.
Okay.
Yeah.
That place.
I went to that place. By then, I found a tree like this. By then, the tree was big.
Okay.
The ant hills was so big. You know, ant hills grow.
They grow, yeah.
It was big. 4 years. I went there. I knelt down. I prayed. I bade farewell to Solusi.
Wow. And you've never gone back?
No.
Is it a love-hate story?
No.
Where is God leading you? What is he doing to you?
I prayed there.
It seems like he sent you to a place you didn't like.
I prayed there and I left.
It's done.
It's done. Solusi is done. And when I reflect, Solusi made me. Solusi made me. And it's a place that I didn't enjoy when I went. The struggle was a bit too much.
All right.
You know, the struggle of not being sponsored, the struggle of registering, the struggle of waiting for the sponsored to be registered. And you wait 3-4 days.
You're not the priority student.
No. You have no textbooks. Depend on the library. And there were friends. I know one lady, I'm sure when she watches this, she will remember.
She will remember this.
We used to wait together. We used to wait together by the library. and wait for the other students to be registered, and finally
Because they are fine, they are funded.
They're fine. They're okay.
Their things are okay.
Yeah, so we'll be called and we'll register, and those were the early years before the selling of books picked up.
All right.
They were the early first year, second year. Yeah. So when I finished school, I thanked God for his goodness and mercy.
So from Solusi, you moved on.
From
when
Solusi,
I met you, you are now in South Africa, but between Solusi and being in South Africa, where did you go and how did the Lord lead you?
I went to Zambia, to pastor in Zambia.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to pastor in Zambia and pastored at a place called Riverside, an American institution.
All right.
And then I moved and pastored to Livingstone.
Okay.
Yeah. And later, I moved to Eswatini.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I fell in love with this Swazi girl.
Where did you meet this Swazi girl?
Solusi.
Ah.
Met this Swazi girl.
So it's the mother of all missions,
yes,
indeed.
Yeah. So I met this Swazi girl, and she was in a prayer band, and we used to pray and fight and quarrel. The other day we were praying on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And she was praying and complaining about me being harsh and rough. When we said amen, I said, stop praying at me. You are praying at me. Don't pray at me. So yeah. So I married this Swazi girl, and then I ended up in Eswatini. I told my field then, and they said, listen, we will only give you what we call independent transfer.
Okay.
Because you've not been called by the Swazis.
All right.
Now, why do I go there? Because this girl is sponsored by the Swazi government. And they said, for you to take her, because she has to amortize fees, for you to take her out, you have to pay us. It was 20,000 what
rand or
those days. Now you talk about the 90. That's a lot of money.
You're taking a national asset.
And by then my country was at the rocks economically.
Yes.
The kwacha was worthless.
Yeah.
Where do you
so you decided to relocate and be with her?
So I said no. They cancelled me. You have newly married. God be with your wife. You can't bring her here. You know, in those days the ministry required married people.
Yeah.
You couldn't continue single.
Single, yeah.
He said, no.
All right.
You'll never be ordained, my friend. So we'll give you an independent transfer. So they gave me that letter.
Okay.
Which I took to Swaziland. And Swaziland says, okay, we'll employ you, but on local terms.
Yeah, you can't come with your
expatriate. You can't come with your expatriate. You can't have even inter-union, whatever. So, well, fine. I joined and pastored there for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Pastored there for 10 years. I speak Siswati, very fluent. I had the privilege of preaching to their majesties 3 times.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Speak Siswati and stayed there, developed my family, and then moved to Bloemfontein as a publishing director.
So the book thing has carried you through.
Oh, yeah. Books have
to
been
the
my
union.
life. Yeah.
And so let's talk about you now publishing your own books.
Yes.
That's another journey God must have taken you through.
Yes.
Because pastoral work has continued. God has blessed you.
Yes.
You are now appointed to serve. A union is very, very high level of mission management and directing.
Right.
And being in Southern Africa Union means you are overseeing a number of countries.
Yes.
Eswatini is part of that union, right?
Eswatini, Namibia, and Lesotho.
Lesotho, yeah.
4.
And so your work has grown and you're selling books, but God leads you to now. You said earlier on you were tall in your mind. Yeah. Walk us through the journey of becoming an author. And I see you've got 3 books here.
Yeah.
Which one was the first volume?
Start Happening.
So Start Happening. But again, there's another
one called
Happening.
Mechanics. After Start Happening, it was Mechanics of Manhood.
Wow.
And then there come the Happening.
This is the Mechanics.
No.
Okay, Happening Man.
The Happening Man. Then it Start Happening, Mechanics of Manhood, and then the Happening Woman. Now, Mechanics of Manhood grew into the Happening Man.
All right. And in all these volumes, I see the word happening.
Yes.
What's happening there? What is that? How is God leading you into this happening thing? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. That excites me.
Yeah.
You know, the happening thing is triggered by many things. But the base of it is that Genesis formula.
Okay.
Yes. You know, when I went to Solusi, in my theology class, the prophets, which class is this? There's this class which takes the Torah, where you study the Torah and stuff like that.
The Hebrew.
Hebrew,
the
Pentateuch and stuff.
So
one of my teachers said, you know, the Bible, he says there are 4 critical chapters in the Bible. It is Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2. Revelation 21 and 22.
Oh.
Yes. And he says, Genesis chapter 1 and 2, we call them pre-lapsarian.
Okay.
Before the fall.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he says Revelation 21 and 22 are the restoration. Revelation 21 and 22 restores us.
Behold, I make all things new.
Genesis 1 and 2. And then he says, in Genesis 1 and 2, you find the ideal, the prototype.
Okay.
What God wanted this world to be.
Okay.
He says the Bible is supposed to be one book. Book of Genesis, 2 chapters. He says from Genesis 3 to Revelation 20. It's us. We brought this.
We are happening.
Yeah. This is where, you know, things. This is where salvation is, the plan of redemption and everything.
All right.
So now, in my adult years, I go back to Genesis 1 and 2. If I were to show you my Bible, it's underlined. It's even so torn, I can't throw it away. I bought it in 1995.
Wow.
I have it.
Marked heavily.
It's marked heavily.
Referenced.
This phone of mine, when I walk in the morning, I listen to Genesis chapter 1 and 2 over and over, over and over, over and over.
Wow.
Until one day, I came to what I call the happening formula.
Okay.
When you come to verse 22, God speaks to what he has created. All along he has just been saying, let there be. He doesn't speak to the light. Doesn't speak to the firmament.
He just looks at it and says it is good. That's it. He leaves it there.
But in verse 22, it says, and God blessed them. And he said, now he's addressing
these creatures,
these things that he has made. And he says, and he blessed them. So I pick my formula is 4. Blessed them. And said, be fruitful, multiply, and fill. I call it the happening formula.
All right.
The happening formula. In other words, God created these things not to be passive, but to be active.
All right.
And in their activity, what is the activity formula? The happening formula. That's what I call it.
All right.
Yes, the happening formula. What is the happening formula? For you to happen, first of all, you must be blessed.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Yes.
The best gift God has ever given to man is a blessing.
His presence.
His presence. And what is a blessing? A blessing is when God avails himself to you 24/7.
Yes.
You have him on your side. You got everything.
Yeah. He says,
now
call on me. If you think you are now alone and far away, call.
Now you can go and happen. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Once he's blessed
them.
you are blessed to multiply, to be fruitful.
Wow.
That's the purpose. You are blessed to be fruitful. You are blessed to multiply. You are blessed to fill, to occupy. And then when by the time he comes to talk about dominion, he repeats the word dominion 5 times. Let him be in charge over and over and over and over. That's a happening formula. You don't happen once. You happen over
Multiple times.
The principle.
And in different places.
Different spheres.
Anything you touch must happen.
And the key word.
Uh-huh.
The key word.
Uh-huh.
Let us make man in our likeness, in our image.
Image.
In our likeness. I didn't understand that.
Image and likeness.
I didn't understand that until I went. The church is good. The church sponsors you to travel all over. When I was a director, I traveled all over.
Yeah.
Until I went to New York. That's my favorite town, by the way.
All right.
But I'm still proud of my anthill, where I was born.
Yeah.
Because even when I walk in Broadway, when I walk into their places, I know my runway, where I launched from. And I thank God. I thank God when I walk into those places. Yeah. And until I went to the New York Museum of Natural History. That's when I understood Genesis 1:26.
All right.
Yes. I like stars.
Yeah.
So I paid my money. I wanted to check if dinosaurs existed.
Okay.
I went to the dinosaur section. I got out there a bit confused because of the fossils.
Yes.
I went to the stars section.
Uh-huh.
When I got to the stars section, I looked at these pictures. They have put a line of them. Okay. The nearest star to us, the furthest star to us, and the story is here and it started happening. Yeah. So I looked at that. And after they've put all these images, they say the nearest is 4.2 light years. I wish I would explain that. Yeah. I've gone through the light year system.
It's far.
I understand it perfectly well. The nearest star to us is 40 trillion kilometers.
Wow.
Now, then at that time, the furthest was 32.5 billion light years. Now, that's
away.
That's a distance no human will ever reach.
Can reach, yeah.
So, but at the end, they put two images, that blew my mind away. That made me love Genesis 1 and 2, especially verse 26. That's the happening series. You know, at the end, they put the image of the eye.
The human eye.
The human eye. And then they say, now those are not Bible people. They're scientists.
Yeah, pure scientists.
Astronomers.
Yeah, natural science. Yeah.
Yes. Then they write at the bottom to say, this organ, aided by a telescope, will see distances where no human will set a foot. The eye.
Wow.
It's there. I took pictures of it. The eye.
Wow.
Then I came to the last picture, the brain. The brain.
The human brain.
The human brain.
Yeah.
They have this picture. They calculate the size of the human brain and to the power whatever in relation to the universe. Then they say, they've written average length 14 centimeters
by 7 centimeters. Yeah.
They put the brain. And then the bottom they say, the human brain is the remarkable organ. Remarkable organ that has calculated the relative size of the universe.
Wow.
You know, after I read that, I touched my head and I thought of Genesis 1:26. Let us make man
in our own image and in our likeness.
I touched my head.
And let them have dominion.
My friend, I said to myself, I spoke American English. You know what I said?
The accent, you know what I'm saying?
I said, I got it too. I said, I got it too.
I got a brain, yeah. I got a brain.
It's only after looking at that I understood what God has packed in a human.
Oh.
Yes. I understood to say, under the skull, God
between our two ears,
God downloaded himself.
The potential we have.
Oh my God.
The capacity we have.
So after that, I want to tell you something. I became very proud. Very proud. Yeah. I step on the world in a different way. Yeah. I became very, very proud. Proud of my image and his likeness.
And the formula for happening.
I discovered something that drove me insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
In exploring what God has done. In all these books, you'll find the chapter, your asset.
Your asset, your brain.
I respect people.
Yeah.
Because I became convinced to say, and I put that statement, there is no one genetically superior. No.
Okay.
No. Because when I walked out of I concluded to say God did not create grade A brain and grade B.
Oh, wow.
It's all grade A.
Wow.
The difference is the way you are happening.
Exposure.
Your activity. That's the difference. The way you are happening. You know, when I see people in the street or everywhere, I see God.
Happening
His
through them.
image in them. And my worry is, who will remove the dust on the grey matter?
and kickstart
and
it.
Ignite it. And I also read a statement that says, the brain is not a bucket to fill, but a fire to ignite. Limitless.
Wow.
I'm sorry to be excited, but limitless. And when I speak to people, when I talk to people, I put them in V1. And V1 is the speed at where the airplane says, I'm committed to fly, and I'm flying.
Now I'm going.
So
Velocity
I put people in
one,
V1.
Yeah.
And I tell them, take off. You got it.
You got it.
Take it off. Take off in your direction. You got it.
Yeah.
Don't think you don't have. What you think they have, you have it here. I also read another statement that says the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed.
Wow.
The greatest weapon in the hand of the oppressor
is the mind
of the oppressed.
So what he wants is to control.
He captures you first to say you can't be better than what you are. That's the greatest lie in the world.
But that's exactly what the enemy of humankind
did
in the beginning.
In the beginning.
He actually tempered with the software to say, you will be like, when actually they were already.
The mind. He went to the mind of Eve, tempered with the coordinates and recalibrated it. And this is...
And the eyes of Eve began to see the world differently because of that calibration.
Yes, because of that calibration.
Wow.
And humanity has been so calibrated in such a way that when we look at other people, we envy them.
Yeah.
I want to be. No, we must learn from them.
Yes.
But all the capacity and content is here.
You know, as you're speaking now, I'm going to try this one. I'm going to try your technique of reading Genesis 1 verse 2. Verse 1, Genesis 1 and 2.
Yes.
On repeat. I want to see what's going to start happening.
Oh, my friend.
This one is a challenge I'm taking. I'm hoping someone can join me on that.
Yeah.
And
just read.
Yeah. Because you know what? Why I'm saying that? For the last 15 years, just to share a little bit, to confirm what you're saying as we get into your future aspirations.
Yes.
I didn't know that the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 3 is the hallmark of this whole media thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
And God said, He spoke.
Yes.
Without this thing, our viewers can't even follow what we're saying.
Yes.
They will see the lips dancing.
Yes.
But without this.
The word.
Oh,
my friend.
The word spoke and it was heard and nature responded. And then it says, let there be light.
Yes.
If I just ask V right now, who's behind the scenes here, to turn the main switch off, those cameras won't see anything here.
Yeah, no.
It's sound and light.
It's sound and light.
And this is not the light of the sun. It's the light of the presence of God in the situation. So I'm going to take the challenge further from chapter 1, verse 3, Genesis 1 and 2.
Can I tell you the blessing?
Yeah.
the blessing of Adventism.
Mm.
You know, when I read that, I call Genesis chapter 1 and 2 the CPS. You know, we have a GPS.
Yeah, yeah.
The GPS, Global
Positioning System, yeah.
I call Genesis 1 and 2 the CPS.
What's the C?
Creation Positioning System.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creation Positioning System.
Is this the reason why the theory of evolution seeks to delete that knowledge?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So that we are not positioned properly.
If we are not positioned
for
properly,
happening,
we don't know where we are coming from and where we are going. We have no leverage for happening.
We become animals.
Yes. We don't have leverage for happening.
Wow.
So, and this is what God does for you Adventists. He extracts the CPS because we lost it in Genesis 3. We lost Eden.
Yeah.
Yeah. But guess what God does? He extracts the CPS and puts it in the fourth commandment.
Aha, the Sabbath commandment.
The fourth commandment is a summary of Genesis 1 and 2.
It rewires you back.
The entire. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. In 6 days.
Yeah. To all thy labor.
What is Genesis? 6 days of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And it will continue. He created the heaven in 6 days. What? The entire CPS, God took it from Genesis chapter 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Has given to you Adventists to walk in the darknesses of Genesis chapter 3 to Revelation 20. You have the CPS with you. But the problem is that you have beasted it too much. You get my point? You have beasted it.
All right.
You now understand it from the dichotomy of Sabbath and Sunday.
The mark of the beast.
Mark of no. This originally, the prototype
doesn't have to do with the beast.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Wow.
The prototype has to do with him
and us in that mix together.
Creation, downloading himself into us. You know the Bible when it says, and he gave him the breath of life, it calls it the path of life. And I say, for you to happen, when I said the formula is blessing, it starts with the blessing. The formula is that, you know, we have gone through COVID, through
the pandemic,
ventilators,
oxygens,
masks. You know, life is divided into Zoe and Bio. Zoe is eternal. That's the word used in John, 1 John 5:12. He that has the Son has life. Has Zoe, not Bio.
Yes.
We have Zoe. Now we have Bio. But in Christ we have Zoe. Eternity. Wow. You see? So now we went through COVID and we went through ventilators. Those were bio ventilators.
All right.
Because bio dies.
Yes.
You can die with a ventilator on you.
With a room full of oxygen.
Exactly. But why the formula starts with a blessing? Because the blessing has Zoe. And I say, before you start your life, plug in first. Make sure.
Wow.
Make sure you are blessed.
Zoe. Now I understand. Zoe. Now I understand why Jesus said to that guy, you said, "Can I just go bury my father first?"
No.
The bio who had died.
No.
Jesus said, "Let the dead
who don't bio die. Come to the Zoe."
Let the bio who's dead in Zoe bury the dead bio.
Yes.
So you can be alive but dead because the Zoe is missing.
Why not?
Wow. Doc, I want us to bring this to a close. And I think we've already been sharing so much nuggets. I'm not even going to ask you your favorite text in the Bible. I think I know it. Genesis 1 and 2. Revelation 21 and 22. Now, you told me before the set
and
that
Psalm 91.
91.
He that dwells
in the secret place of the Most High shall abide
in the shadow of the Almighty. Can I say something there? It uses the word dwelleth.
Yes.
Not lodging. Not accommodating. Dwelleth.
To dwell.
There it tells me, make God your permanent home address. Yeah, you may reside, you may go to many, many places, but should life ask
Default
should
position.
life ask you what's your permanent home address?
It's in God.
Shelter of the Most High. And then it will say, in whom I trust.
Wow.
That word trust in the Hebrew, it also means careless.
Careless with that person.
Careless.
Yeah.
In whom I care less.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm in him,
Let it be.
let it be.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay.
Whatever happens, I'm fine.
It's okay.
Even if you kill me, it's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I say you are not finished until God is finished with you.
Wow.
You are not.
Wow. So you may run away, but he will find
no, you are not. And I also say to
Okay.
people, to
Yeah.
myself also,
Yeah.
never try to finish another person.
Ooh.
No, don't. Leave that to God.
Ooh.
When I preach,
Doc, you're saying something deep.
yeah,
right
no,
there.
leave that to God. I say,
Even those who have hurt you, God
No, no,
says,
no.
don't touch them.
no,
Leave them to
he
me.
says, pray for. You know why he says, pray for your enemies?
Uh-huh.
Pray for your enemies. Don't kill them.
Leave them to me.
Leave them to me, because
Yeah.
some of the best opportunities in your life will be opened by their plotting.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
They will be opened by their plotting.
Wow.
I wish I would take you to church politics.
I'm there already.
Some of the places we have gone to, because we were being removed.
Doc, I'm there. I think we should do another one on this one. Ooh,
We
my
were being
Lord.
removed.
My Lord, this is hot.
And I tied to Joseph. You know, Joseph
Yeah.
he says, no, you didn't sell me.
God
No.
was in it.
And the Bible saying God sent a man. He says, no, you didn't sell me. But
You meant it for evil.
Yes.
But God.
But it could not have happened without their plot. Remember I said God controls times
And opportunities.
opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, Joseph, the father says, hey, Joseph,
Take
this food.
to your brothers.
To your brothers. And the boy is excited and he leaves. He does not know that departure
Is the last one.
is a
ever.
domino effect. He will never come back here to this tent.
Wow.
He doesn't know. He doesn't. But God is already in control. He starts off here. The Ishmaelites are starting off from Mesopotamia.
So that there's a confluence at
There
some
will
point.
God is bringing that timing. They have started off their journey.
Yeah.
They are sleeping along the way. Joseph starts here. He gets lost and is wandering. I think he's wandering there because the Ishmaelites are still far.
Delayed.
They are still far. And so when he appears there, the brother says, oh, there he comes. They plot.
While they
While they are plotting and the Ishmaelites are drawing near.
alive.
By the time he's drawn out of the pit, they are here. Wow. Only God could have. Push it further. He's accused, he's in jail, he's in prison there. The accusers, she's happy when he's thrown in dungeon. He says, yeah, it's done. But remember,
In the palace of Pharaoh.
always be good to people.
Yes.
Always. I'm using the word. That's why Jesus says, pray for them.
Always.
Always be good to people. Be good to people. This boy goes into this dungeon and he still has his soft skills, dealing with people nicely.
Yes.
He sees these guys and, hey, what's the matter, man? Hey, we dreamt. What? We dreamt this and that. Remember, he's getting 2 dreams that at this time are dysfunctional.
They are almost not going to happen.
He's getting 2 dreams, but
Yeah.
he still has the kindness to interpret their dreams. And he says to the cupbearer, remember me, man, when you are there. I want to bring another point here.
Yeah.
Please be a cupbearer to someone.
Oh, yes.
Because in life,
Yes.
there are situations where you cannot get yourself out.
True.
Even if you are blessed.
Yes. You've got to have the kingmakers. You've got to have
You need to
corridor
have
people
someone
to guide
who
you through.
will mention your name.
Yes,
where
in the
you
right
are.
platform.
At the right platform. So what God does, the boy is in prison quickly, but the key to unlock those dreams are in the head of Pharaoh.
Hey.
The dreams in Canaan, they are in Pharaoh is a heathen.
Yeah.
Only until he dreams does Joseph get out of there.
Wow.
Only God controls times and opportunities. God makes the cupbearer forget for 2 years.
To wait for Pharaoh's time.
For the dream.
Doc, this was
it's coming.
powerful. This
Keep
was
happening.
powerful.
That's the
Keep
message.
happening
Keep
is the
happening.
that's the secret, and God is in charge.
Be blessed. Seek. I say to people, if you are a criminal and you are a good thief, don't steal money. No, don't steal money.
I'm waiting for this one.
Don't steal money.
What are you supposed to steal with that
Blessings.
skill? Okay.
If God leaves his house carelessly and he has not locked his safe, break into it.
Take those blessings.
Grab yourself a blessing. It is the only thing that works regardless of how you obtained it.
Oh, wow. Doc, you told me the other time, it's 60 years ago when you were born and you have retired early. What is in your mind? Where are you going? Where is God leading you to? Talk to us about your future aspirations.
God has been good to me. Not that I've had no blunders. No. I have had blunders.
Okay.
And serious ones. But God has intervened. You know why I liked Psalm 91 and 103? There is this word called loving kindness.
Yes. Love that's kind.
Hesed in Hebrew. Loving kindness is God's act of intervention to save and rescue man from sin. You have created for yourself, you have injured yourself, you have messed yourself up, but loving kindness intervenes.
Yeah, winks at everything.
And rescue. That's why David says, I was glad. When he talks of the shepherd, the Psalm 23.
Yes.
He says, surely
Goodness and mercy.
and mercy. When you check,
Shall follow me.
shall follow me.
Pursue me.
Relentlessly.
Yeah.
So, God has led me this far with certain moments in life to regret, but more to praise him. So I took early retirement.
Okay.
And my reasoning was, I started planning it 2018, 2019.
Okay.
That's when I started writing. And you may ask me, how, why? I programmed myself. I used to tell my wife, maybe baby, to say, I'm going to write a book. One day, she insulted me.
There must have been a reason, of
yes,
course.
because I was talking about it all the time. She says, I'm tired of that nonsense.
And you never deliver it.
I'm tired of that nonsense.
Okay.
One morning,
I
got up at 5
a.m.
5 a.m. And she says, where are you going? I said, I'm happening now.
Wow.
I'm happening now. Bathed, put my breakfast to the office. And I said to myself, every morning, from 6 to 7:55, I'm writing.
Wow.
Then when they knock off, from 5 to 7, so I had 4 hours a day.
Wow.
So I did that faithfully. I wrote Start Happening. Faithfully. Somebody asked me to say, where do you get your time? I mapped myself. From there, afternoon, exercise. Exercise, walk. In this, one of the books, I talk about exercise and I talk about walking. Somebody told me to say, your brain is in 4 parts. It's written there.
Yeah.
There is the default mode. It says you are creative when you are not focused on anything.
Yes.
When your mind is dangling.
Yeah.
And it dangles better when you walk. And I read that from the Harvard Business Review.
Okay.
Ooh, you must read those magazines.
All right.
I read that. And I discovered that when I walk, if I'm not listening to the audio, I'm just walking and my mind can tour the world. There was a time I was walking and something that I was trying to figure for 2 years.
Just like that.
Fell into place. I clapped for myself. I got it. I got it. I said I got it.
Yeah, finally.
Finally.
Yeah.
When I got home, I scribbled it down.
Yeah.
That is what led to my early retirement.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. In my head, I bought a piece of land.
Okay.
And why did I buy that piece of land? I'm driving around in Swaziland. I meet a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
He deals with land. He's an agent. Mm-hmm. He says to me, Pastor, buy land. They no longer manufacture it. It's a limited edition. Hey.
Yeah.
I said, what?
Yeah.
He told me some years ago, but it has been. I went to Zambia.
Uh-huh.
I bought a piece of land.
Okay.
It's a long story. You should ask me that story. I bought a piece of land where I used to go as a boy. Remember, I used to make wire cars?
Yes.
I used to go as a boy to watch cars pass.
Okay, on the
From
highway.
Livingstone to Lusaka.
On the highway.
On the highway. And choose cars there. I'm in grade 5. No shoes. Khaki shorts.
Yeah, you were there just to choose the
And
models.
to choose the cars, and they would buy the Peugeots, the Fiats, the Fords, and the Land Rovers.
Wow.
One day, a car passed. I chose it. Grade 5.
Okay.
I'm standing here. It's a tarred road. Across is a piece of land. When I grew up, I bought that car. My favorite car. When I grew older, I bought the piece of land across the road.
The road.
Right there.
Wow.
And I said, I want to do something. I want to do something for my community.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
For my community while I still have strength. I know I've preached in churches, I've been all over, but it's time to plow back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I went there, deeded the place.
All right.
Now I have a plan for it. It's divided into 4 parts, which I'm working on.
Okay.
But the core of that place is the multi-purpose hall, the center. That drives me crazy. That place is called the V1 Center of Development.
The takeoff.
The takeoff. You know, each time I
see.
drive in the village and I see kids playing, I see people walking around, I say, God, give me life.
Let me change this.
When the hall is complete, I
Yeah.
have 5 portfolios. Health, education, agriculture, entrepreneurship, skills development, and the last one, climate change management and mitigation center. When I'm done with that place, there'll be days for men, for leadership, men's health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a big problem.
Yes.
We don't talk about our health.
I
We
just
don't
want-
even go to clinics.
I just want that society because of what I saw in New York.
Yeah.
They got it too. They have it. But nobody has taken time
To plow into
to
it.
plow into and to awaken them.
Yes. And
To
to
say
see
it's
what
there.
they have.
It's there.
I brought an American to my village the other time and they
Yes.
cried.
Yes.
They said, we don't have all this land in America.
That's it.
You guys are living like kings. But we didn't even know it. Everyone is aspiring to go to New York.
I read,
Yeah.
I listened to a documentary where Shimon Peres is talking. He says, many people ask, what is Israel? How did we get here? He says, we positioned ourselves. We don't have minerals. We don't have this. We don't have space.
Yeah.
We positioned, and he says, we positioned ourselves in knowledge.
Wow.
They're the first country
That's it.
in this world to have the Iron Dome
Wow.
defense system, which the Americans want to copy now.
Yeah.
He says
in the land where there's nothing, they farm some of the best global exports.
I was there. I went to
It's
Siberia.
Knowledge.
So and come to the Bible.
Yeah.
It will say, my people perish.
Perish because of lack of knowledge. Doc, I want us to wrap this. I know we're wrapping a story that we should never wrap. It's just too much in it. I think we shall have to do it more. Is there anything we have not talked about that you'd like to share with our viewers right then? I want you to look into the camera and talk to the young gift that grew up and discovered God and has become a global icon.
Well, maybe.
And share your thoughts with them.
Yeah, what I would like to share is actually go to the prototype. That's where you start. Go to your prototype. Go to Genesis chapter 1, 2, 1 and 2, and zero in 1:26 to 28. That's your prototype. That's the original. It can't be better than that.
Yeah.
It can't be edited. It can't be improved. And maybe let me share what a prototype is. A prototype, when they manufacture a car, they will first make the first engine block.
Yeah.
From which they will copy the rest. Yeah. They design. That is where that's why if you take a part of BMW, you can't fit it into the Mercedes prototype.
Because it's not the same prototype.
It's not that's the intellectual property.
IP address.
Yes. So if I'm to say something to someone, I'll say, go to the prototype, go to the intellectual patent that God made you. You have it.
Yeah.
And believe in that. And also know that in Genesis 1 and 2, before you even fell into sin, he gave you the formula. Be blessed.
Yeah.
Be fruitful. Multiply and fill. Meaning, happen. Life is a happening arena. My slogan is, you happen, it happens.
Wow.
You don't happen, it doesn't happen. It's in the happening. And you are empowered, created to happen. Happen in your own ID, your own formula, your own identity, because that's where God put it. You have it. And also, why do I talk about happening? You know, when you sit and watch TV and you say, oh, that movie was good, that soapy was good.
Yeah.
You were watching people happening. Yes.
In their element.
In their element. You were watching. We are not talking here.
Yeah.
We are happening.
Things are happening, yeah?
Wherever you see something magnificent, somebody happened.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. These cameras. Somebody sat down to happen on the cameras. They didn't say, let it be. No. They happen. When
There's
you go
no abracadabra here.
No. When you go to when you see the most beautiful building, when you go to Dubai, you go everywhere.
Yeah.
They happen.
Someone.
You never meet them, but there was an architect who happened.
And it happened right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
That's why I talk of that 40 centimeter asset between your ears. And guess what? You know, when you enter a border, and they said, do you have anything to declare? You have heard? I read it somewhere.
Yes.
You say nothing. But if they were to see your $1 billion formula, they would say, no.
Declare the intellectual property.
Declare that.
You can't bring this here.
No, you can't bring it here.
It's too big.
It's too big.
You're going to take a lot of money out of this country.
They asked the AI one time, they said, do you plan to take over? They said, no, I can't. I don't have a soul. I am made. I'm programmed.
Yeah.
I am not creative. AI says creativity belongs to humans. And it's because for AI to be there, somebody happened.
It.
So whatever AI can do, as long as it was made by a human being, it can never surpass it. You got it between your ears.
Yes, you got it.
But it won't come easy. It will come when you happen. That's why... No, we don't understand the Bible. That's why Jesus says, seek.
All right. And
Knock. A door will never come to you to be knocked. You have to get up and go to the door and knock on it.
Approach it.
And to Joshua, he says, listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Moses is dead. I give you all this land. But only where your foot
steps to
will be yours. Only what you will act upon.
Yeah.
That's your title deed.
So Canaan is promised, but it's occupied.
It's occupied.
You've got to go and take it.
You got to step on it. And you won't step it by sitting down. You will walk around. You will move everywhere. That's happening.
Amen. Amen. You
will have to step out.
Yeah.
And step on it.
Wow.
Step out, step on it.
If people are to look for you, where do they find you?
Well, I'm found on Facebook as Gift Mweemba.
Okay.
Found on Facebook as Dr. Gift Mweemba.
So Facebook, so you've got 2 usernames on Facebook?
Yes.
All right.
I also am found on YouTube. Start happening.
Yes.
Yeah. Find me there. And of course, I'm found a little bit on Instagram.
All right. Yeah.
And but finally I'm on WhatsApp. You get me anywhere, anytime in the world.
Awesome. Let me take this time to say thank you so much for sharing this with us. Yes. I think I'm humbled. I'm really blessed. I walk out of this podcast feeling so empowered. I take you on the challenge of Genesis 1, verse 1 and 2. I take you on happening. I think that's going to be one of my infused mantras. So you've converted me on happening.
Keep happening.
And you've confirmed a lot of things in my mind. So thank you so much. And I wish the best for that center you are building. Yes. I'm sure if someone is listening out there and is interested in helping in Zambia, building a heritage site for this happening. You got it.
That's right. You got it.
You're most welcome to get in touch with him, get in touch with us. Let's make it happen.
Yes.
Because my belief is I share this with you. Can I bless you with this one?
Why not?
We preach the 3 angels message, which I know you preach as a theologian.
Yes.
But we stop at Revelation 14, verse 12.
Okay.
We stop there.
Yeah.
But God asked me to go 1 verse further.
That's right.
That's why you are happening here today. Okay. And not only for today.
Yes.
Because that verse says, write these words, John, blessed are those who die in the Lord henceforth, says the Spirit.
That's right.
The one who was before the creation.
Exactly.
For they rest, but their works do follow them. Long after you and I are gone.
Yes.
This happening here will still be happening for the future. So God called me to be in that space to happen. So I want to say what you are building now is going to continue happening.
That's
long, if Jesus delays is coming, long after. Yes. So generations will be blessed by this thing.
Thank you.
And may the Lord lead you and continue to guide you.
Thank you.
And continue to bless your pathways.
Thank you.
Amen. Friends, that's all we had for you today. What a podcast. What a moment. What a time. Do let us know in the comments below if there's anything else you'd like to learn, you'd like to ask, you'd like to get to discuss with Dr. Gift Mweemba. We'll be very happy to share with you, and perhaps let us know if you want him to be back here. What is it you want to know more about his life, his mission, and his purpose in life? So God bless you. Remember to like, to subscribe, and to follow this ministry so that you don't miss out on the next upload. God bless you. And let me give out a big shout out to my producer today. There's a beautiful lady sitting behind the cameras today. Vivian, thank you so much for helping us on this one. God bless you, and see you on the next episode.